Welcome to tea time. Sorry for the delay. Was a little under the weather. Had to pull myself together and not let the weather take me out. So make sure that it is vitamin season. Make sure, hey Shamika, make sure that you're taking your vitamins. Make sure that you're giving your children their vitamins, and just make sure you're doing some preventive maintenance on your body like we do with our vehicle. Make sure we're doing that. So again, welcome to tea time. Giving everyone a second to get back on because I was late, but I do apologize. In a season, we're making sure I'm listening to my body and taking care of myself, so that I can be around a long time. Let's see. Giving everyone just a second, and then we'll be ready to get started. Again, as always, thank you for taking time out of your busy day, your busy life, to join me for some tea. Let's see what we have. What are you looking? What is that for, Pookie? um, let's see. Hey, sis, how are you? So I was a little late, just apologizing to everybody, letting them know that my baddie needed some attention. I was always also telling people that if they are not in their season, hey, thank you, sis. If you're not in a season where you're taking your vitamins, this is the season, hey, that you should be taking your vitamins. Make sure that you're giving your children their vitamins and making sure we're doing preventive maintenance on ourselves. We do it on our cars, we do it on our jobs, we even do it on regular maintenance on just our appearance in itself with haircuts, hairdos, but make sure we're taking preventative maintenance on our health. Take care of yourself. You only get oneself. So, of course, because we're late, we're going to jump right in. Nala said, hi, Princess Nala, doll. So we're going to get the jumping right on in. Today we're talking about silencing children, right? Silencing children. And if you are that parent who silences your child, I am asking you to reconsider. I can't tell you to stop, right? But I'm asking you to reconsider. And we're going to talk about into three pieces. And I may go over just a second, but I'm going to try to keep us on track because we were late getting on. So with silence children, I'm going to start with the one that I know I have done, right? That I can definitely admit to, and that's stop crying, hush your mouth, stop crying, hush your mouth. Did anyone ever experience being told that as a child? Or either you are a parent, right? And this is just like a safe space. You don't have to get that in depth to it. But do you find yourself being a parent that tells your child to hush their mouth or stop crying? I think it's something that we all as parents innocently do. And it's just that we want our child to stop crying. So whether if you gave them a spanking, hey Donald, or if you told them no for something and they start crying and it gets overwhelming, and we sometimes go straight to hush your mouth, stop crying. How do you all feel as a parent? Is that something that we keep? Is that something that we get rid of? What comes to your mind when you talk about, because today's topic is silencing children, and this is the one that I feel like most of us as parents do. And we're just going to move up with other things that parents sometimes say to get to the one that I think is the most detrimental for children, because we grow with the last one that we're going to talk about. So, anyone have any feedback on if you are that parent that tells your child to hush their mouth, stop crying, be quiet, and what does that look like to you? What is your feedback on that? If no one has any feedback, meaning that if you're not the parent that said it, or if you was not the child that it was said to, we can kind of go on and move on. I do like to say that I was definitely the parent that said that. Um, I'll give you something to cry for. My mom, be quiet before I give you something. I was just saying that, giving you something to cry about. I silenced my kid when they were little because sometimes they will follow me around and cry just to be picked up. Oh my God, Yari is so in that stage right now, sister. So I think that that's the one, like I said, that we most likely use as parents. And I think it's the most innocent one of all. I think that, like sis just said, we just want them to stop crying. Like sometimes they can get into these crying fits and they make us want to go postal, right? So I think that that's probably the easiest one. Yes, I said it a few times. Someone's chatting it and had to say it to me. Right. So, oh wow, that's really deep. So, a person just chatted in and said they found themselves saying it to their child, but they also said to them. So, I am truly not a crybaby. I didn't even look at it that way. But some of us, I wish I could have been more vulnerable and in tap with my emotions. But some people they will cry over anything, right? And it doesn't mean necessarily a bad thing. Like my sister in Christ, she'll cry, even with happy things. Like she's just a crier, and I am not really a crier. So the person said that not their mom didn't tell them that, but they said that their grandmother told them that all the time. Hey, Chucky, stop crying before I give you something to cry for. So another one we're going to move into. Let me see if I can pull that one back. So we had um, stop crying, and we had hush. Okay, so stop crying. So I want to go a little bit more into hush your mouth. So hush your mouth is something that I feel like is mild, but I think that we still need to get into a place where we as adults respect children as human beings, and sometimes hear what they have to say. Our children will embarrass us, so I think that's where hush your mouth comes from. Our children can be so embarrassing. I remember when Pookie was a little child and he was, not a malicious little child at all. But if he seen a man on a bus and the man did not have a leg, and he wanted to know where the man leg was. So me being embarrassed, the first thing I could think of was telling him to hush his mouth, because sometimes we as parents are embarrassed, but we need to embrace that, right? Y'all is truly at that stage where everything is, what is this, grandma? What is this? So you can't quiet them down. You have to talk about him. Hey, as gentle and as age appropriate as possible. He doesn't have his leg, but he's still as special as me and you, right? Because that is not a bad thing that a child wants to know where somebody's leg is. So if they went through their life for their 3 or 4 years on this earth, and everybody they came in contact with had a leg, and now they run across someone that doesn't have a leg or arm, that comes to a conversation. And why it's so important to have that conversation with your child is because you don't want them going to school and seeing someone that's a little different. Right, we're all different in our own way, so that's different from what they know, and then they begin to tease the child or say things because they just don't know better. So, although we are sometimes embarrassed with how our children act and treat us, please, please, please make sure that we are giving them the information, because all they're doing is seeking information, and it gives us the opportunity to be able to answer it for them. Um, if she's crying for nothing, I tell her to stop. But if it's a reason behind her crying, I talk it out and try to explain whatever the situation is. I like that. If she's crying for nothing, as the parent, knowing the difference, if they're crying for nothing, and this is so important, not even if you have younger children, but even our adult children, right? Being able to let your child know that you are comfortable with talking to them, uncomfortable conversations, hard conversations, because it's so important. Because hey, you want your child to be able to tell you if their car is about to be repossessed. You want them to be able to tell you is if they're about to lose their job or if they've lost their job, right? If they're about to be evicted from their apartment. Those are the type of things that you want to get in a habit of having a conversation with your child and knowing the why. And all the time you may not have money. It's not about money, but you may have a resource. You may know how to take them into DC or Maryland and help them to get funding. For their get funding for their rent. You may have the resources to take them back to where they purchased the car at, and if you have good cause, you can have the dealer take that car back. It doesn't mean you may not owe something, but you won't ask as much. So please, please, please make sure we're in a place where our kids can have that comfortable conversation with us, no matter how young. Because what younger children always say, I tell it now all the time, when Yari's going off, she's like, "Oh, she's too much." I said, "When Yari is just getting in tap with her emotions." I said, "Nala, you've had your emotions for 4 years, and Yari's only had her emotions for 2 years." We talk a lot about emotions, so things that Yari can that you can tolerate now, like Yari can't. And sometimes we as parents need to say that to our children when they're teenagers, when they're young adults, because sometimes we have a little bit more answer because of age, wisdom, and emotions, right? When Kamari was little, we were in the Burlington and she saw an old midget and she yelled, "Look, mommy, there's a little grandma. Oh, that is so cute. A little grandma." And she has a little purse too. I was too surprised to hush. I know you laughed out loud, but that was her experience. Like, parents, don't be embarrassed by your children, right? And and I love my elders at church. And one of them, she didn't really see what was going on, didn't know it was Yari. But Yari was making up a fuss, and she didn't know. And she hushed. Don't you hush her? Don't hush mine, because we here, right? This our church. So if they're a little too loud, you need to pray to the Lord that He show you to another church, or He get you some good earphones that will only tune you into the pastor. But don't hush mine. You can tell me to, can I try to calm down? You can even tell me, hey, she's really worked up excuse, but never hush mine, because our friendship will turn to hen it real quick. Don't hush mine. Anyone else? We talked about stop crying, hush up, shut your mouth, all that goes with that. But this is the one that I really want to talk about, and I feel like this particular one is the reason why our community is at siege right now today. Stop snitching. Don't be a telltale. Now we're not going to get into a real deep on that older person and somewhat the hood life or the urban life. We just want to know, where does it come from as parents with young children? I can honestly say I don't ever remember saying that to my children coming up, because I'm nosy, so I wanted to know it all. Like, I'll be ear hustling trying to see if it's something I missed. Is there anyone know where that comes from when we tell our children to don't be a snitch, stop being a telltale? Can a parent please tell me the reason behind that? Because I am so against people telling their child to not be a telltale. Where did that come from? Oh, I'm snitching, so don't do nothing around me, and my kids better snitch. Because but I'm talking about, it's so true, but I'm talking about getting to the meat of it as young children. Where did that come from? My parents never told me that. I always heard it from my peers. Right. And I have actually seen parents tell their children that. And I wanted to know from you all, one particular thing is, do you all feel it comes from having multiple kids? Because I wanted to look at it from a parent that has multiple children. So if you got 5 children and all of them keep running back, Mom, he hit me again, Mom. Go sit down and stop telling. So I'm just wondering, does it have anything to do with multiple household, or is it just something that people say? So sis got woo child. I did it on occasions. Okay. Tell mine to be quiet when they were young, but now they tell me everything, even the things that make me blush. Okay, so that's awesome. Okay, so let's go to a caller, a texter. Like, what if one of them abuses your child? All they hear is "don't tell." I hate when parents say it to older siblings, I believe it is, doing something bad. It also says, let me get back to that text message before I go back to you all. Okay. Um, Tell y'all, all they hear is "don't tell." People are not in safe spaces for their own kids, right? Not giving their, okay, so I think it means not giving their own children a safe space. So let's see what else we have here. Parents don't have the same maturity level as years past. Well, I've heard this even as a kid growing up, Chucky. So I think it's something that we said, and again, it may have not been, like, I don't think it meant to be that far drawn out. But I think that I know I heard it as a kid. So if anybody else had it as a kid, please let me know. Rap music. Trail said rap music, right? It's telling them not to snitch. So I am go-go at heart. If I'm around some people hear a little rap, don't know a lot about rap, do know who's saying rap, but I can imagine the things that it's saying. Oh, that's a good point. I remember someone telling me as a child, stop snitching and go play, right? And also definitely rap music. So if you are that parent, please stop. and I don't have any control over you and your household. So let me say, please revisit your reason behind telling your child to stop snitching. I think mom said it or say that in place of leave me alone. Okay, so hey Michelle says, so that I guess that has something because my mom sure said it, right? Um and I so that's why I was saying to Chucky, like parents did back in our day even said then, but I think they mean they mean leave them alone. Okay, so I'll buy that. Okay, so let's try to be honest and tell our children, mommy needs this time. Daddy needs this time. I need you to go sit down and give me my few minutes because now we're being honest. Because I feel like stop being a telltale has, because we're looking at a perspective from a child, has been something that the community, urban communities have taken in, and now you can't say anything about anybody, right? And I think that because it went from stop being a telltale to oh you a snitch to now snitches get stitches and people just won't come forward. So I really want us, and by no means am I telling you to go snitch on anybody and put you or your family ever in jeopardy. I just want us to not tell our children that they are snitching. And it was for minor things like, oh, she hit me, stop snitching, go sit down. So it was nothing deep. It's just something we said. And again, I guess it could go back to leave me alone, because I guess that would make a lot of a lot of make a lot of sense around that, right? So we need to choose our words more wisely because words speak life or death, right? And right now, our community is in a season where I can cry with you. I can even help you plan your child's funeral, and I'm going to show up. But I can know who harmed your child or who harmed you, and I won't say a word. We as people have to do better. I am so tired of seeing people that I know, family, friends, constantly losing their children and nobody says anything. Somebody knows something, right? And I can get haze, I need protection, I need X, Y, and Z, but look, you run your mouth about everything else, right? You run your mouth about, who child father is who, who mother really messed with the mailman that you call uncle, everything else, but you lack to be able to bring forth things that will rebuild our communities back up. And people knew beforehand that it's about 5 or 6 people around here going to say something, they'll do something before it even got to a violent crime. And I always tell people all the time when I moved up to my first home, if you even pulled up to have a cigarette or a weed break, I called the police. And someone gave me some reasonings into why I should not have done that, because this is many years ago. And I understood their reasoning and it made sense. But not here. I definitely understand. We don't want the police to come, think they got a gun. The police can have a gun. So everything they told me makes a lot of sense. But when you're a homeowner, you can't just jump up and go like an apartment. And I have seen what being silenced do to a community, right? I have seen what being silent can do to a community. Let's see what we have here. Just tell kids no or stop without the why. Okay, one parent said, tell your children no or stop without the why, right? Don't tell your child stop telling my business because they don't know exactly what that means. Instead, tell them we don't talk about our personal address in front of strangers. And I like that. I like that. No, I didn't. Okay. I don't know. Maybe they said something else to me. I didn't catch that. But oh, don't. Okay, I'm sorry. The person said, don't tell them no without the why. Okay, no or stop without the why. Okay, so don't tell them no or stop without the why. And treat your children. I always said raising my kids that I was raising adults. They're not going to stay children forever. And believe it or not, we really don't get a lot of time with them, right? Some people say 18, some say 21. A good parent might go 25 to 30, but that's less than half of our life, our life expectancy, right? So that means that they have more time out on their own than in with us. So we need to get into a position where we are sharing information with children. We're sharing, and of course, we're going to put boundaries on it based on age, but we need to get into a space where we're sharing that information with them so they'll know where to go with it. I heard it as a kid, but my mom did specify what to tell. I like that, right? Right, because some things you ain't got to tell every little thing. I know I used to tell my kids having so many at one time. I would tell them, if the house ain't on fire, don't you come knock on my door. I'm having my me time. So the house, if ain't nobody bleeding and the house not on fire, don't you come knock on this door, right? But but sometimes they are, like I said about my granddaughters, people are learning their emotions, they're learning their self. So we're constantly silencing our child and pushing them away. There's a whole big outside waiting for them, right? And then you wonder why your children don't talk to you. I have always talked to my children, and I'm encouraging you to do so. And right now, today, because we had such a relationship, not just a parent raising a child, but we had a relationship, right? That I still have that same type of relationship with them 30 years later, right? That you can still connect, that you can still have fun with them, that you can still go out with them, but they can also know that when their back is against the wall, even if it's not monetary, right? Because we want to move that out the way sometimes because it's not always about that. But even when their back is against the wall with any decision making, that they know that they have you in a corner. Because if you're silencing them and you're embarrassing them and making a mockery of them, they will rather be evicted from their place than to let you know what's going on. They would rather let someone sexually abuse them over and over and over again without telling them, because either you're not going to want to hear it or you're not going to believe them. So please, please, please stop silencing your children. I never heard my mom say that to me or my son. Outstanding, outstanding. Because like I said, I didn't know if it was a multiple child thing, but I had plenty and didn't go that route. But I want you all to know that, and I would tell my kids this growing up, even if you kill somebody, I want to know. I need to know if we're going to dispose this value together or if I'm going to get some money together for this lawyer for you. But I want to know, right? And that's the kind of relationship that I think more parents need to have with their children. Definitely don't want your kids killing nobody. Don't want mine killing anybody, for sure. But I just want you to know that that intimate time, that intimate space, that intimate connection means everything, because outside is not nice to you. So again, stop silencing your children as much as they need to shut the uck up. Sometimes our pastor need to shut the uck up. Sometimes our spouse need to shut the uck up. Lord knows our boss always needs to shut the uck up. And we can tolerate them not shutting the uck up. So let's have a little bit of grace when it comes to our children, a little bit of patience with our children, and let's see what the next generations have in store for us, right? Have a good connection. Even when they get on your last nerve, even when Yanni comes with me with all these stories about plan A and plan, like she'll just change it here and there, like here she come again. But I need to listen, right? I need to listen and see, hey, that ain't a good idea, or let me help you, or whatever the case may be. It's important that we give our kids a voice. People, we've been silenced growing up, and we are naive to some fact. We have silenced our children. I know my mother, you wouldn't come with her with no whole go sit down. You ain't so that is so true. So because I owe you all some time back and I've already went over about 7 minutes, I thank you all so much. I do apologize again. Thank you all so much for sipping with a sister. I did receive a topic by text today, and I'm putting that on a calendar for that person. If anyone else think of something that we could talk about together and that we could get through, please, please, please feel free to text me or drop it in the chat, and your topic will be heard and displayed. Until next week, see you soon. Thank you so much for sipping with a sister.